Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the grand finals of the 6th Gwangju Youth English Debating Championship Domestic High School League. My name is Chu Kyung Park, this championship executive committee chair and professor at Honam University. Before we begin today's debate, I'd like to congratulate both teams for coming this far. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me congratulating the grand finalists with a round of applause. Thank you. Today, we have the motion, this House supports using economic incentives to promote good behavior in schools. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome the Prime Minister to the podium.
May I start? We believe that there has been some problems regarding the attitudes of students in schools. Currently, the overall students' attitudes has been degraded to a certain level. And it is quite hard for the schools to promote students' good behavior. And we believe that many poor people's children and so-called bullies are having bad behavior in schools. And to solve these problems, I told you in my status quo, we support the using of economic incentives to promote good behavior in schools. I'll first define some words in this motion. First, what we mean by good behavior is actions that are fit for the status of student. And when we mean bad behavior, we mean actions that are not fit for the status of a student. And the decision of what is fit for the status of a student or not will be made by the school. Now, I'll tell you about our model and how specific we will run this policy. Now, we will give a certain amount of money to every single student in the school. However, we will reduce the amount every time a student has a bad behavior. And we will increase the amount when a student has a good behavior. And this money that pays these students will come from the school's operational fund. However, the amount won't go under zero. The amount will differ from school to school, but we won't allow it to go under certain amount. And our goal is to give certain amount of money to every student to promote good behavior. Now, when we go on with this policy, the good behaving students will always have good behavior as they did. However, this policy we suggest to you targets the people I told you in my status quo. It targets the poor students and the so-called bullies that are behaving bad currently in the schools. Now, we want to give money to as many students as possible. If a student doesn't do any action that is categorized as bad behavior, he or she gets all the money. But when a student does an action that is categorized as a bad behavior, we are reducing the amount of money unavoidably. Now, I will tell you why this is the best way. The current penalty score system we have doesn't bother many of the students I told you in my status quo. Also, corporal punishment is against the student's right and is not agreed by the society. And the stance we take in this debate is that we should promote the good behavior on poor students and the students' so-called bullies. Now, I'll move on to my arguments. The first argument is that this policy is the most effective way. When we first do this policy, we don't expect the currently bad attitude students to certainly have a good behavior. They will not get money at first. However, we believe that the bad attitude they have in having will get better gradually. Now, I'll explain to you why this will happen. Now, the people who need this money desperately are the poor students. And as I told you in my status quo, many poor students have bad attitude. The reason is that they think that they won't have any chance of success because of the social structure they're in. And I will tell you how this will happen. Now, the students around these poor students get this incentive. Then the poor student will want to get this money desperately because he or she is poor. Then they will try to improve their attitude to get this money. But however,
Hi, sir.
but they will. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any specific reasons that you think poor students go to the bad behaviors?
I will tell you in my second argument, and they will get little at first, but however, they will learn that they can have good attitude and get money. So therefore, they will try to improve their behavior and get more money and try to keep getting the incentive. So therefore, this policy could be a great motivation for the poor students. And also, we think the economic incentive is the most practical and direct solution to students. We believe that the students we target by this policy didn't have good behavior because they thought they had no reason to do it and there was nothing to lose by having bad behavior. But this policy will change this situation and they will get a reason to have good behavior. When they have a reason, they will become more motivated. Also, they will lose the opportunity to get money if they have bad behavior, so they have something to lose and they will try to have better behavior. So therefore, and we think that money is a good motivation for the students. The reason is that it is an immediate response to your good attitude. Money is something that can be visualized. Teenagers prefer immediate rewards to the other rewards that take long time. For example, more students like immediate reward. More students will choose to get money over rewards like good student record. Also, students that are target of this policy would most likely choose money if they have choice between money and a reward that can't be visualized. Therefore, money is the most effective motivation to the students. Now I'll move on to the second argument. We think that this policy gives chances to the poor and the bullies. There are poor students who want to go to the school normally, but they can't because they don't have money. However, this policy will solve this problem. Since they earn by going to the school, they will be able to go to the school and have better behavior. And there are also students who want to stop being bullies. But this policy, however, the other bullies won't agree if the bully says that I don't want to be bullied anymore. However, this policy gives the bully a chance to say that I want to get money, so I will stop being bullied. So therefore, this policy is the most effective solution to this problem I told you in my status quo, and this will give the chance to the people we target in the status quo. Therefore, we think that we should go on with this policy.
Now, I'd like to welcome the leader of opposition to the podium.
Mr. and Madam Speaker, today the government supports using economic incentives to promote good behavior in schools. Before I get into my points, let me first rebut some points that the Prime Minister have mentioned. The Prime Minister have mentioned two things. It is the most effective way to promote good behaviors in students, and by going, the schools providing the economic incentives would stop bullying outside. However, the Prime Minister have gave the example of poor students going to the school and get economic incentives, but we don't think that many poor students goes into the bad behaviors, but we, against with what the Prime Minister have said, think that the students who are rich also goes into the bad behaviors, like many sons of the big companies are going to the bad behaviors. And we don't think that going to the school will not stop bullying outside, because when they get money from the school, then they can use it for the outer race when they are out of school, and the behaviors that they were used to do are not easily fixed, as I will mention in my argument. So let me get into my argument. The school in nowadays is giving economic incentives to the students who do good and better learning performances than other students. However, in present Korean society, juvenile delinquency is getting issued as a big problem. We agree to give those students monetary or economic incentives who do good performances in schools. to promote better grades and performances, and it's beneficial to school. However, we have thought about today's motion that economic incentives for students to do good behaviors in schools. We have two arguments in total why we are against what the government is arguing. Because first of all, the behaviors that juveniles used to do isn't easy to be fixed. In addition, monetary or economic incentives would only be an external motivation to students. This argument will be elaborated by our second speaker, the deputy leader of the opposition. Now let me get into our first argument. Students who are used to do bad behaviors cannot easily fix their behaviors into good behaviors. In Korea, there's an old saying that once you have a habit when you're 3 years old, then it follows until you become 80, which means until you die. Or even though they can receive economic incentives from the schools to promote better behaviors, they would use it in a different way what the school was firstly intended to. According to the juvenile delinquency theory, there are many factors that cause juvenile delinquency. But there's no factors in this theory related to the monetary problems, but there are other many factors that such as biological or psychological factors that cause juvenile delinquency. So when you look at this theory, you can know that juvenile delinquency is not fundamentally caused by monetary problems. However, but just by other factors, especially psychological factors. This can be also proved by the fact that lots of psychological treatments are prevalent for those of juvenile delinquency. So if the government or school really want to fundamentally help those students to get out of bad behaviors and to do in a good behavior, we argue that monetary incentives are not the proper way to help those students, but we argue that other methods should be used to treat those students, like psychological treatment, as I have said. So for those reasons that students who are used to do bad behaviors, it's easy to easily get out of those behaviors. We argue that the motion should not stand. The economic incentives to promote good behaviors in schools should not be used. Thank you.
Can I start? Okay, first, thank you, the Deputy Prime Minister. And before I move on to our team's third argument, I want to tackle some of the argument that came out from the opposition side. First, they came out with the argument that the bullies in the school may use the money that they earn from this policy. They will use this money as other way, but however, we believe that this is a really exceptional case, so we believe that this is not proper in our debate. And also, what our leader of opposition was trying to say in our argument was that throughout eliminating and make the bullies disappear, we are trying to say that we are insisting that we can make a better school environment and atmosphere, so we believe that we can make a better school than before. And also to rebut the argument that came out from the opposition side, they really argued with only the quote that the habit won't change until they die. But however, we believe that they failed to prove why their habit won't change, and we believe that there was the lack of information and examples. And also they argued that other methods and other policies should be used to change the behavior of the students, but we believe that they didn't came out with any single alternative of this, so we believe that they failed to rebut our argument. And we believe that by compensating and giving some economic benefits to the students, we believe that it will be able to change the students' habit. Of course, at first it'll be actually slightly hard to change the students' habit. But however, if the students fully understand this policy and time pass, we believe that the students will be able to know what this policy is about, and we believe that the students will understand this policy, and we believe that the students' habit will be changed. Next, I will move on to our team's third argument. We believe that this is a great policy that provides opportunity to learn about the economic for the students. First, before they become an adult, there's actually no resource for the students to get the income. The only resource is that getting some pocket money from their mother and father. However, this is not actually a way that the student struggles, and this, we believe that this is not a method that the student can stand on their own feet and can earn the money by their own selves. Also, the part-time job or other jobs is impossible for the students to work because of the age limit policy. So we are insisting that with this policy, the students can earn the money by themselves. Throughout this policy, we believe that the student will be able to, they will know and understand the importance of money and how hard it is to earn the money. Also, we believe that the student will know the students will be able to know when they earn money and lose money.
Sir.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
We don't think that students giving economic incentives are not big enough to learn economic, or it is rather better to earn money by doing part-time their own.
On the opposition side, PY, about the part-time job. However, I talked about that the part-time job and other things are actually impossible for the students because of the age limit of the government's policy. So we believe that PY was not proper.
You're right, sir.
Okay.
When you go to the high school, it is not illegal, and when you get your parents to permit for the part-time job, it is not illegal to do the part-time job.
Okay. Anyway, even though the parent has accepted, we believe that kind of process is not the process that the student thought independently. We believe that because we need the permission of the parents, we believe that that's not a way and method that the student can earn their money on their own selves, because they need the agree and approval of the parents. And to move back onto my arguments, we believe that these kind of the things that the students learn in the school, these kind of economic things, this can be advanced in the society and applied in the society. We believe that the school is actually a miniature of the society. Of course, the standard of the act will not be exactly the same in the school and the society. However, we believe that when the students become adult, they will have ability to think, if I do this attitude, I will earn some money, and if I do this, I will lose some money. We believe that the student will be able to think and judge what kind of attitude will affect on their economic things.
PY, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
The Prime Minister have the basis that the schools give money to all students, but we don't think this is or students earning money by themselves.
No, of course the students will get all the same money, but however they will lose money or earn more money depending on their attitude. So we believe that is a process of earning the money by their own selves. So what we are arguing is that throughout this policy, we believe that the student can prepare for the prepare for the future. So we believe that the students will be able to have a more proper and more can have a more better economic economic life throughout like getting some more by like learning the value of money and establishing the point of view, like looking at the money. So we believe that we should support using economic incentive to promote good behaviors in schools. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome the Deputy Leader of Opposition to the podium.
Team of opposition. Before I get into my argument, let me rebuild some ideas that the government mentioned. They said that taking place the proposition of this debate will increase the good behavior, but I don't think so because it's just a hideout of advocates in this proposition. I'll state this point in following my argument, and he said that the beneficiary of this proposition is desperate and poor students, and it is promoting them to live better lives. But ladies and gentlemen, is giving them economic incentives really helpful to them? On our side, it is just hurting them at being felt embarrassed or being the people who have to help their economic condition. And the Deputy Prime Minister said if this proposition passed, the school will become better, have better atmosphere, but on our side, we don't think so. After my argument, you could understand why I say this way. Allow me to start restating that we should not support using economic incentives to promote good behaviors in schools. What I want to say is that it is not the fundamental solution of promoting students to behave in a good way. Promoting good behaviors by using economic incentives is allowing them to be the slaves of money, and it is not appropriate. Surely, it is the first advantage of provoking good behaviors, but it is just exterior motivation. The government has said that by the Skinner's reinforced theory, giving them economic incentives is good for changing them partially to some degrees. But I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. The important section in changing the students to behave on good attitude is not the exterior motivation, but the interior motivation. The result caused by taking place the proposition is not appropriate to the original purpose. Most people would agree that the original purpose of giving incentives is not for the temporal behavior, but for the external change of their attitude in schools. Let's go back into...
POI, ma'am.
No thanks. Let's go back into the main point. Well then, what is the fundamental solution of changing their behavior in a good sense? On our side, we think that education such as ethical lecture, visiting some places, educating polite... No thanks. Behaviors such as in Korean, 청학동. What we need most is not giving them economic incentives, but giving them the opportunity of communicating with the large world to promote good behavior. Thanks for listening.
Now I'd like to welcome the government whip to the podium.
I want to first applaud, thank you, the opposition side. They did a great job, great speech. And even though they did a great speech, their argument had a lot of flaws, a lot of exceptions, a lot of nonsense. The first thing Errol said was that if the students who did the bad habit, who had the bad habit, will get this money for the doing a good thing for this money, they will use this money in the bad things. Like, I believe that they were saying like they will buy the alcohol or the things like the cigars, but we believe that this argument is very narrow. This is possible but not probable. This has a lot low probable of this argument. The second, the deputy leader of opposition said was this: if this is only for the people who are poor and desperate, but this was what our intention was. the PM said this money, it can be effective to the people who are poor, and it has the poverty and that desperate for the money. And we believe that if the people who are in the bad environment and like see the bad things more frequently, that the rich people who have the good environment in their society, we believe that if this students behave well, behave better than yesterday, or behave better than last month, and we believe that the school environment, the whole school's behavior will be better than this. Yes, but the deputy leader of opposition is still saying that this bad behavior, which in their is concrete in their habits, will change. But we believe that the motion spirits is about to change this habit into a good intention, good behavior. But they are saying that we can't. This is not about the motion spirit, and we believe that this money, practical things that we can see, we can use it in this present, and we believe that this can make the good behavior into their habits of life, and we believe that when the students go out to the society, and it will become a better habits, better manners, and become better people in the society. And I'll go to my classes. The first thing is about the result will be good or bad, and the second class is about the poverty of the rich, who we have to focus, and what this motion, who is this motion about. And the third thing is about if this amount of money we can educate the people about the thoughts about the economy. And for the first class about the result, we believe that if this habit will change, this to change the students' habit better, and we believe that this will change their thoughts, change their attitudes, and if these students go out to the society and be a people in the society, and we believe that this will be a positive effect on our society, and go on, it will be a better society and happier society. In the second class, there's about the comparison of the poverty people or the rich people. And the opposition side keep saying that rich people can have a bad attitude, but our side keep saying that they are minority than the people who are doing the bad habits in the poverty place. And we believe that this is because the environmental around them, rich has a good environment, the ethical environment, because they're rich, they're having a lot of people who is good, who has a lot of good behavior. But in the comparison, the poverty people has a lot more inferior environment. And we believe that this can make the students behave badly than the rich people. And we believe that we took the second class home too, and the third class, the last class, it was about the amount of money which can be effective at our education at the economy. But we believe that our PM defined the money, and we had the stance to give the money that it will be effective to the students. The amount of money can be effective to the students who are poor and who are having a bad and hard life in their lives. And we believe that this can make the students the thinkings about the economy, and we believe that this can make the students' mind fixed about the economy, and they will believe that they will earn money when they do what they want to do, and when they do what they have to do, they can earn money the amount they want. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome the opposition whip to the podium.
talked about the efficiency of economic incentives promoting good behaviors in school. The Prime Minister talked about efficiency of promoting them with economic incentives, and they also said that there will be changes to the good attitude if we keep using economic incentives to promote good behaviors. But ladies and gentlemen, do you think is it good to treat human by money? In capitalism society, many humans have been treated as a dog whose owner is money. We all do know that it is completely bad. But when we're using money to promoting good behaviors of teenagers, it is nothing short of teaching them the bad phenomenon of this capitalism society. There is a word, praise makes the whole whale dance. This word ensures us that we can be promoted by just praise, not an economic incentive. So the reason why my team's opinion more matter than the other team is we consider the possibilities occurred by natural human being, not a substantial thing. And also, it can cause another problem. That the problem is the teenagers who got incentives due to their good behavior will not likely to continue their good behaviors when the incentives end. So we have to spend a lot of economic resources to promote them continually, which is unnecessary and not efficient. Our opponent team also said that there will be reduced bullying or behaving badly. No, thank you. But rather it can be an opportunity for the bullies to earn the money so easily. All they need to do is go to school, acting like a good boy, and get money. And they use this money to smoke or drink or other things. No, thank you. It would rather promote them even lying or forced behaviors and give them to use freely money. To reduce bad behaviors of bad guys, we will have to know their life and circumstances.
QI, sir.
No, thank you. We will have to know their life and circumstances that then giving them money. They might have family problems or oppressing to do bad things. In short, we cannot solve fundamental problems of bullies. And the deputy said about learning economists, and he said that they get money by hard working. But I cannot believe his opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, cleaning classroom and picking up trashes, do you think these actions are hard working? I do not think so. So it is not appropriate argument. Ladies and gentlemen, we do believe that we can change teenagers by praise, not a substantial thing. I assert that we have to make our society become more appropriate society, which society is more evaluating humans' main resource than any other substantial thing. So this House supports eliminating economic incentives to promote good behaviors in school. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome the opposition reply to the podium.
Mr. and Madam Speaker, today I'm here to reorganize what we have argued about in today's debate and stand for the reasons why we should win in today's debate. So we had two arguments in today's debate, that habits of bad students are not easily unchangeable and that the monetary incentives is only external incentives. We had argued in our first argument that students can use those monetary incentives in different ways, and the government have said whether it is possible or not, but not giving us the proper reason why they are against with this argument. And the government also keep talking about the poverty But as I said, it's not the factor that cause bad behavior or juvenile delinquency, as I have mentioned in our first argument. What the government says, like the monetary incentives would change students' behavior in a good way, is just the external motivations, but it cannot easily change the internal mind of the students to behave in a better way. So just like what I argued in today's debate, the students that do bad behaviors, they do not change their behaviors easily, and it is only external incentives that are given to the students. We firmly believe that economic incentives should not given to students to promote good behaviors. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome our last speaker, the government reply, to the podium.
The leader of the opposition gave us an alternative, saying that we should treat these students psychologically because the bad behavior is a psychological problem. However, from their side, there was no specifics or what would happen after this policy or how this will happen. Now, if they mean by this as going to the psychological doctors, I don't think students will like this. If they force this into the students, then it is a violation of these students' rights, and if they don't force it, then no one will go to these psychological doctors, and so therefore their alternative is not probable. And however, we told you what would happen after our policy and why it's most effective and this policy targets. Now, to look at how they rebutted, all their rebuts was just saying no for no reason. Now, giving exception is not a reason, and not saying that every student will do what we say is not a rebut. This denying is not a reason. Now, we should talk about the majority of the people, and we should not talk about the exceptions in this policy. Now, if 99% of the people change and 1% doesn't, would you say that this policy is wrong? No. We told you why the students have good motivation and it's highly probable that they will change. However, they kept insisting to us that these minors might not change. And this doesn't rebut our whole case, so therefore we take this debate home.
This is the end of the grand finals. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me congratulating them on their successful debate with a round of applause. Speakers may now cross the floor and shake hands.